Come on in. Come on in. And just so you're aware, we are on live television. White Rose Television. Yes, we are. So welcome. Thank you for coming to this, the first annual, and certainly will not be the last time that we get together for Welcoming Week. Welcoming Week is a national event that is put on, or that is sponsored nationally by the organization Welcoming America. And through our friends at the YMCA of the USA, this past year we became, I'm Craig Wolf, the Executive Director of the YMCA, we became acquainted with Welcoming America, the national organization. And Welcoming America helps communities across the country achieve prosperity by becoming more welcoming towards immigrants and all residents. That's their mission statement. And so tonight we are here to celebrate the great diversity that we have in our community. We're here to welcome the newcomers, the new American population that we have here in York City and York County. And it's great to see such an incredible audience of people who care about our community here tonight. I do want to start by thanking Mayor Kim Bracey. Mayor could not be here at the last moment. Edwina Washington, who has also been on our organizing committee for this event, will be here representing the mayor tonight. U.S. Senator Bob Casey is represented tonight by South Central Regional Manager Michael O'Miller. Michael's here. I did not see Bob Riley, but U.S. Congressman Scott Perry was to be represented tonight by Chief of Staff Bob Riley. State Representative Kevin Schreiber is represented tonight by Chief of Staff Sully Pinos, who's here. Hi, Sully. He's here. York County Commissioner Doug Hoke was here prior, but he had to leave. Yes. State Representative Keith Gillespie was RSVP'd. I don't see Representative Gillespie. He's to come. And, of course, bonsoir, Henri Nixon, City Councilman and Francophone. Thank you for coming tonight. And also I want to give many thanks to the organizing committee for this year's Welcoming Week activities. This evening and then tomorrow's activities, we have a Cultural Lenses workshop put on by our friends from the YMCA of the USA, Nico Gourdet and Sandy Almeida. And the organizing committee for that event and tonight is Edwina Washington from the City of York, Sherry Yoder from Penn State York, Mary Weaver from the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center, Bobby Ann DeLeo from the Literacy Council, Michelle Guzman from the First Haitian Church of York. Michelle, I think, left yesterday or the day before for Haiti, but we do have a representation tonight from the Haitian community. Hello, folks, and thank you so much for the food. Oh, the Haitian food. Kayla Sanchez from the Consolidated School of Business. Dolores Menaja, who's a community activist and representing the Dominican community tonight. And I want to thank all of you who brought this delicious food. I know that we have food from Pakistan, we have food from Haiti, we have food from Korea, we have food from the Dominican. Did I leave anything out? I probably did. China, we have food from China that some of the students made. Is that it? Okay, and there's going to be a lot more left too, so you feel free to go back for some seconds. So thank you and welcome to our event. I want to turn the program over now to Edwina Washington from the City of York.
Thank you, Craig. Good afternoon, or rather good evening, everyone, and thank you so very much for joining us on this wonderful Monday evening here in the City of York to celebrate National Welcoming Week. So the food I haven't had a chance yet to taste the food, but it smells delicious, so I will later. On behalf of Mayor C. Kim Bracey, it gives me great honor to read a proclamation proclaiming September the 12th through 20th, 2015 as National Welcoming Week here in the City of York. Whereas our community's success depends on making sure that all people feel welcome here. Today, newly arrived Yorkers are a vital part of our community, bringing fresh perspectives and new ideals. They're starting businesses and contributing to the vibrant diversity that we value. And whereas the week we honor the spirit of unity that is bringing neighbors together across Pennsylvania during National Welcoming Week, I invite all residents to join this movement of communities nationwide by renewing our commitment to our core American values and by taking action in the spirit of welcoming. By working together, we can achieve greater prosperity and make our community the kind of place where diverse people from around the world feel valued and want to put down roots. And whereas, regardless of where we are born, what we look like, we are Yorkers, united in our efforts to build a stronger community. By recognizing the contributions that we all make to create a vibrant culture and a growing economy, we make our community more prosperous and more inclusive to all who call it home. And whereas, let us come together to build communities where every resident has the opportunity to contribute at his or her best. Let us come together to create more prosperous communities and to reaffirm that Pennsylvania still stands as a beacon of freedom and opportunity. Now, therefore, I, C. Kim Bracey, Mayor of the City of York, by the virtue and authority vested in me by the Constitution and laws of Pennsylvania, do hereby proclaim the week of September the 12th, 2015 as Welcoming Week, and call upon all people to join together to build stronger communities across Pennsylvania. Given under my hand and seal of the City of York, this 14th day of September in the year of our Lord, 2015, it is signed by Mayor C. Kim Bracey. Thank you. It gives me great pleasure to welcome to the podium President and CEO of YMCA of York and York County, Mr. Larry Richardson.
Thank you, Edwina and Craig. Craig and I have been together for a little over 20 years now, and I've learned that Craig can't hear really well out of one side. So we do have food here from India also. People were saying India back there, you didn't hear, so I want to make sure that we get a shout out for that. So we're really excited for this event that really I want to just kind of backtrack a little bit, make my remarks very short. But the YMCA history, our YMCA here in York and York County has been here now for 160 years. But we've been involved in past generations working and doing international work pretty much that entire time. The YMCA, most of us, and probably when I grew up as a kid in the YMCA in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, I never knew, I always thought, like everybody else, the YMCA is a United States organization. Everything's founded in America, right? Well, that's not true. It was actually founded in London, England. And it spread throughout the world, and now, as I think, I'm going to maybe misquote this, so maybe one of our YMCA colleagues can confirm this, 135, 137 countries. 119 officially. But I've had the great opportunity to spend time on YMCA exchanges with YMCA of the USA staff in South America and Chile and Paraguay and Peru, also as part of a USA contingent to Europe on a couple of occasions. We've welcomed contingents from around the world. Many people here in York may not be aware, but what the YMCA has done in our neighborhood redevelopment work and in housing in particular. We've now have housed people that have represented 40 different nationalities and countries in our housing program. And that kind of right now kind of is where our sweet spot when we're working with folks that are newcomers in our community. And over the last few years, we've become in the YMCA of the USA designated as a global center of excellence for the work that we're doing internationally, and also set up as a place where we welcome contingencies from other countries to come in and see what are we doing in this area of neighborhood redevelopment. In the last few years, we've welcomed those YMCA staff and volunteers that have come from several countries in South America. A few years ago, we had the Palestinian YMCAs visited here to see what we're doing in neighborhood redevelopment. Most recently, the contingent from Wales, the Welsh, which is an interesting thing, and I was just going to go off my notes real quick, but I have the Welsh flag now in my office because I'm of Welsh heritage. And so when we talk talk about newcomers and we look into history in York County, and I know many people that are historians in York County, they often talk about when the Welsh came here in the late 18th century, I think, late 1700s, early 1800s, and they actually came here and contributed, just like Queena talked about, contributed, bringing tools and resources and being integrated into the community, welcomed into the community. They worked in the shale mines in the southeastern part of this county. It became very, very integrated. So as we take a look at that, while we're taking a look at newcomers, welcoming them into our community, in the YMCA, we recognize that we are here as one of our precepts to build strong communities. And we recognize that communities are stronger when everyone is valued. This is, as Queena said in the proclamation, which we're very pleased to accept and very appreciative. Tonight, with partners represented here, all of you here that are partners and have an interest in this, we celebrate the values that unite us and make our community welcoming to all those that call York home. Tonight, we begin a journey that will strengthen our community, building a foundation of knowledge, tools, and culture where all residents can contribute. And when all are given the opportunity to contribute, our community will prosper while being inclusive to all those who call York home. So we welcome you here tonight. We hope that tonight will form the foundation for us to launch this. And while many in the room are already welcoming to newcomers into our community, we want to expand this to make our community and build a foundation where we're welcoming to all, where all are valued and all can contribute. So thank you for being here tonight. We're excited to be part of the process. Thank you for our colleagues coming in from YUSA, from everyone else here this evening. Thank you for your interest. And I think tonight will be a momentous moment in our community as we build this foundation of welcoming newcomers. So thank you very much.
Okay, now one of the goals of Welcoming Week is to begin dialogue. And so what we're going to do now is to show you a documentary that's entitled How Was Dinner Party? This is the story of a group of Somalians who moved to a small town in Tennessee and began working in a plant there. And following this documentary, we are going to have a panel discussion that'll last a few minutes as we enter into this dialogue on how we can make York more of a welcoming city. Okay, so our technical.
There's a lot of people in this town that are fed up. It is their culture, it's their way of life that we're being forced to comply with. You know what, the truth has got to come out. No more secrets, no more politically correctness.
They come from a world totally alien to anything that people in Tennessee have been exposed to. To be suddenly exposed to it and then say, you must accept this, a lot of people have a problem with that.
We don't know the backgrounds of any of these people. We don't know what diseases they have. We don't know what they're going to bring in here.
If they're going to come over here and live in our country, they need to dress like we do, speak our language, and live like we do.
We have no idea what it's like, to live in fear. I think these people are here to try to survive like the rest of us.
I don't know what's wrong. Some people don't like Somalian.
A lot of people find Shelbyville to be a very, very typical small Southern American town.
If you grew up in Bedford County in the late 50s, 60s, we were the buckle of the Bible Belt.
Those times the Ku Klux Klans came through, and so we had them to walk our streets.
Lynchburg is like, 20 miles from here? We should have been named Lynchburg. Shelbyville, we done had more lynchings than a little bit down here.
The issue of segregation and race in the South is long past. Those old issues here have pretty much gone into the history books. But about 15 years ago, we began to see a large influx of immigrants here.
Tyson Food, the biggest employer in the community, got where they cannot get the type of employers they need. So they started importing Hispanics in. Then, about 2 years or 3 years after that, Now you got Somalians.
Soomaaliya horta aan markii u horeysay anigu waxaan deganaa magaala madaxda Soomaaliya Muqdisho. Marka dagaal baa nagu qabsaday, dagaal baa dhacay. Gurigaygii dhammaa, jiifkaygii, gurigaygii waxaan hanti lahaynba, xataa waxaanu lahayn beero. Beerahayagii, gurigayagii, waxayagii dhanba baabuur uun baan qaadanay, carruurtii baan la qaxay. maalinta horta waan faraxsanayn waayo faamiligaygii oo dhan baan ahaa odagaygii carruurtaydii carruur kaloo walaalihiisa marka qof kasta waa faraxsanaa faamiligayga aan ka imaanay si fiican baan soo maca salaameynay waan ku faraxsanayn imaatinka Mareykanka markii aanu ka soo baxnay waxaanu naga ku soo dawnay ugu horeysay United States Chicago from Ohio markaan shaqo ka waayaan gobolkan soo aado gobolkan baa la yiri shaqo u leeyahay
My country tis of thee, sweet land of liberty, of thee
In case some of us haven't noticed, Shelbyville is not Mayberry anymore, if it ever was. But in fact, when I was born here and grew up here, it was different than it is now. Wasn't a lot of new industry. Most of the people I graduated from high school with left town, didn't come back. But the community has grown economically and it's grown culturally. And
Somalians, they come from an environment where that people come in and destroy their whole community, kill the mothers, the fathers, and their whole family and just leave them all dead. And so when they come in, they're a lot more aggressive, abrasive.
I'm not sure.
if they, for some religious reason, don't want to shake hands, that don't offend me because people have different mores about touching and all that. But just a simple conversation or getting services at a doctor's office or something, I hear that all the time.
I think that's
that they're just demanding and.
My wife teaches English as a second language in one of the elementary schools, and that's her comment about the Somali kids. They're very aggressive, very aggressive. And like she says, though, but maybe a year ago they were fighting for food. You know?
We've gotten a sheet handed to us today that explains a whole lot of things to me that I didn't know.
right.
To me, they should be handed a sheet of all the things they may need to know to do life in America before they get turned loose in Shelbyville. And
you have people from a totally different culture moving into a very, very small, very tight-knit southern community.
We had one situation, I think it was a domestic situation, and in trying to separate the husband and wife, the officer actually placed his hand on the wife's arm to remove her, and the man went totally ballistic because in, I guess, their culture, you're not supposed to touch another man's wife, literally.
They go to the store, they feel like they can negotiate. You know, if you have an item in there, $10, they say, well, I'll give you $7 for it. Well, now you're getting where you're agitating people like Walmarts, and they're arguing with them.
Yes. Excellent. Okay. And we will erase this. Before they came, I heard a lot of negative stuff from teachers. You know, you don't want to teach them because if you're blonde and blue eyes, they disrespect you, even the men and all. But you know, when they first came in my class, fascinated with them. They're just fascinating people, and they all have stories. One guy told me that his Somalian student told me that his dad had 4 wives. But before they let him come into the United States, he had to divorce all of them except one.
My friend is living in Shelbyville. He called me. He said, come to Shelbyville. Shelbyville is have a job. Me and my son, we live here. I am work first shift. My son, he works second shift. I have 6 6 children, one husband. My husband had a job in Minnesota, and my children will live with father.
I used to have a funny feeling when I went to the grocery store if there were 4 or 5 of the males standing on the outside talking, and I'm wondering what are they saying.
From what I know about Muslims, they don't like us. They're out to kill us, as we know from 9/11. And it just scares me.
The troubles of the war-torn African nation of Somalia are now spilling into a small southern town. Refugees are flocking there in droves.
They've had an impact here. Unfortunately, it's not been a good impact.
According to government reports, at least a dozen young Somali Americans have returned home to join Islamic terrorist groups. The FBI is conducting investigations in several cities with large Somali populations.
Looked like something from CNN, let's put it like that, but they said suicide bombers and Somalians, and it freaked me out. I was like, Lord have mercy. We got them over here, and you know, the FBI's already been saying, well, you know, they're gonna start blowing up in Shelbyville next.
Where'd you hear that?
Just buzz around town.
Who is this?
Me. This me. This time I'm happy. Yeah, I'm stay home, my husband, my child, my family, no problem. This time. After this time, we come to East Africa, to refugee. We leave home, we leave family. That is problem. Other people, we died.
People close to you?
Yeah.
When I was talking to this student, you know, once you develop this relationship with him, you could talk to him about anything. I asked him, I said, what do you think about people in the United States afraid of you guys because you're Muslims and the 9/11? And he says, teacher, those are radicals. We are not radicals. We are here, you know, for reasons to work and safety and all. And like one of them said, he was so glad he doesn't have a cold gun in his face when he wakes up.
I was approached by the city manager for Shelbyville, who suggested that I do a series of stories about the Somalis in Shelbyville, why they're here, how they got here, what their culture is, and perhaps we can, you know, get some understanding going, some talking going on. Unfortunately, through official channels, we were not able to acquire any interviews whatsoever. They would not return phone calls. We did not know who to contact. I decided to undertake the project on my own.
My name is Muhammad Ali. I'm originally from Somalia. This is our mosque. We pray 5 times a day. All the Muslims come here. And this is the place of the Imam. When Friday, he make a lecture about 1 o'clock and lecture for some Islam, for the Deen, for ours. Then we pray each together, all of them. They see the lines. That side is a female because we're separate, male and female. After 1 hour, it'll be everybody here. And now it's empty because nobody's there, everybody's home. When the break time, everybody's coming here, we'll break together, then we leave. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee. I moved here because there's nice people and nice counties. All my life should be in Shelbyville, I wish, because I like in Shelbyville.
We published the series in December of 2007. The response that we got from our readership was incredible. Unfortunately, much of it was very, very derogatory toward the refugees. A lot of it, frankly, was hate.
taas waan ka xumahay waayo dhaqanka iyaga maaha in lagu soo sawiro joornaal qofka lagu soo sawiro oo lagaga sheekeeyo. waxaan kaloo aan dhihi lahaa inay ka daayaan dadka warxumada ay ka bixinayaan. waxay dhahaan Soomaalidu waa dad dhaqan xun, waa dadaan lala noolaan karin, waxyaabo saasoo badan, waa dadaan aan dadka isbegti garaynin, wax saasay ku soo qoreen ma ogtahay. marka waan u sheegi lahaa, waxaan dhihi lahaa ma fiicna.
Some of the stuff that Brian Mosley wrote about the Somalians, that brought anger in the community because people looked at him like, I can't believe they do this, or they're dirty, or they don't clean, or whatever, you know. But to me, it seems like he should have turned around and add something like what they're trying to do. They are going to English class, and they're trying to, you know, go into the community a certain way.
Check waa calaamadaasaa la dhahaa. Check ma calaamadda u saxda.
I have seen how she's an older woman come to class and she is dead tired. I mean, you know, and her classes are Wednesday and Thursday. That woman never complains.
macalimadeedu way fiican tahay.
My name is.
Ingiliishka wayna bartaa, dhaqanka Mareykankayna bartaa, waxayna bartaa citizenka su'aalaha lagu qaato.
How many branches are there in our government? 3. Excellent. 3.
Mrs. Lucy, we talk. He call, I'm call. Then she is my friend. Every day she talk to me. You have a citizenship. I'm tell her. No, I'm not yet.
Grab me one more extension.
Find me an extension that fits that size.
Economy's not that good around here right now. Everything's going overseas. It's gotten worse the last month or so. Everything that's hiring's laying off. Everything that's laying off is closing down.
Because I mean, I can remember this. You had pencil factories. You had 2 or 3 of them, and then it's just going downhill. I mean, about now you might get a fast food job, pay you maybe $5-6 at the most.
Other countries coming in and they don't care about the ones that were born and raised here. They much rather take care of them instead of us.
We kind of believe that it's people coming from different areas. They have actually, like they're overrunning us a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've taken a lot of our jobs.
Recently, we had an incident where some refugee resettlement groups in Nashville brought van loads of refugees here to apply for jobs at Tyson.
There were a lot of local people that had been lined up the entire night. It got pretty tense. We were thinking we were on the verge of possibly having a riot situation.
The federal government is bringing all these refugees in from these foreign countries. How are we supposed to provide jobs for all these people? As we don't have them.
I don't know what the answer is. I know everybody's desperately looking for work to try to feed their families and all. But I have heard the Somalians and the Hispanics, they say, the American people come in, they work, the work's too hard, they're gone.
Tyson came to see me and talked to me and said that they wasn't seeking out people to come in to do that. And I said, I want y'all to understand, local people should have a job first.
They are just upset, have family members saying they're going to boycott Tyson food because Tyson is hiring all the foreigners, as they put it. It's a mess.
We do what the law requires us to do by posting job openings with the state career center office so that we fill our vacancies. We're not interested in hiring a certain group of people. The fact that Nashville area is a center for refugee resettlement tends to create a scenario where refugees branch out into communities such as Shelbyville, and we think it's because we're an attractive employer to them.
We live in Shelbyville, we pay rent, we pay electric, we pay insurance. Yeah. But I don't know what's wrong people and live in Shelbyville.
You pay taxes?
Yeah, I pay taxes. I pay everything.
You know who our county mayor is in Shelbyville? Eugene Ray. It's in your packet. I wanted you to sort of look. It's on the left side where your flag is at. Who's the city mayor of Shelbyville?
Oh, Wallace Cartwright.
Wallace Cartwright. I think the Somalian community need to step out of their shell now and start educating the community, even myself. In my class, when you spoke to an American, I told them, do not be afraid. Go up to them. You don't have to touch them, but you look them in the eye and you tell them, my name is so-and-so. I'm from this country. This is how old I am. Don't be afraid because it is eye-to-eye contact. They did very bad articles about the Hispanics. They went for 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, writing negative stuff about the Hispanics. So what I did, we went, and you're going to have to do the same thing. We went with 3 people, not 20, 3 or 4 people that are calm, that can speak good English. And you need to go up to the publisher, Ivan Hughes. You're going to have to talk to Brian Mosley, who's the reporter, and you tell him, we don't like the articles. We think they are done in bad taste. We think that your newspaper is a good newspaper, but you are causing hatred. You are causing people to be mean to us, and we would like you to stop the articles.
Some say, Somalia not talk to people. We have clothes, big clothes, too much clothes, something like that. I'm saying Somalian, good people, we want to talk together. All people, American, Mexican, Somalian, we live together in Shelbyville.
Hal, this is Brian Mosley. This is Hal
Hi,
Seah.
how are you?
How you doing? Good. Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Somebody told me there's something wrong on the newspaper. When I read the paper, there is something wrong about our religion or our female, and I read about something and they say we are in our religion. Everybody have religion, but our religion, the Muslim ladies, she cover herself, and she do. And I read the newspaper. I have some of them, the newspaper still now. And what they cover, it was they smell bad or some sting. And I don't know who write it exact, but when I read, they say the name of Brian Mosley. But if somebody discriminates for you, you can feel it because you're human, you can feel it.
Many of the things that are said there are our readers are responding to the stories that I have written. We really wanted to sit down and speak with you about these things. But we had no one to speak to. That was the problem. But now that we're having this sit down, I assure you it will be on the front page of the paper. When I started looking at this topic a year and a half ago, I never thought it would get to where it has gone, stirring the town up like it has.
We have moved forward with the Latino community. I see the same thing happening with the Somalis. And I think Brian Mosley is going to play an instrumental part in that because people are reading that paper. So Lloyd's getting a little pink t-shirt with her name Shaniqua.
She's real nice, like a mother. She's very nice.
Very sweet.
Before she was born, Lloyd said, what are you going to name your baby? He said,
Like pork chops or neck
Right.
Okay, let's see. Would anybody like to lead a prayer?
Can we hold hands around the table or no? It's better just.
Well,
I'm
is
asking
that
you-
all right with the Iman?
Huh?
Can you hold hands?
Muhammad, let me hold your hand.
I don't want to step on anybody's toes.
Okay, at least
I can.
This shows unity.
Oh, he don't want his hands touched at
They
all.
do their
the shoulder,
elbows.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
elbows.
Okay. We're all right. One want to hold hand, one hold elbow. Let's do
Our
it.
dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for our many blessings. We thank you for the people that have come here today to be with us and just celebrate this Thanksgiving season and just be together as one. We praise you, Lord, and we thank you for this food and its nourishment to our bodies and our bodies to your service. In Jesus' most precious name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Muhammad, would you like to lead us in a prayer?
Come on. For our religion or what? What do you want to
Any
say?
kind, whatever you want to say.
What are your personal?
In your language, anyway.
Go ahead. Okay, I appreciate everybody here. We come to share to everybody, and we are brothers and sisters together. And thanks, and God bless you and bless America to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. That I would like to ask so that we can get to know people more. Because I think you should keep your customs and traditions that you have for your country. But why don't you want to hold hands?
In Holy Quran, he said, and the woman to shake hand to woman together, but man to man. But the man and female, if you're not your wife or not like sisters, and you cannot shake your hand, they calling SIN the sin. When I shake your hand and you shake me hand and I give you hug, male and two female, they calling sin, SIN. They don't accept our religion.
I grew up Catholic, and you know, like the Ten Commandments, that you're not supposed to look at, you know, the other person's wife, or, you know, it's kind of like in that same sense that you're out of respect, you're not supposed to like somebody else's wife or somebody else's. How is that commandment? Or
How may I catch you, please?
No,
yes, ma'am.
Do you eat fish?
Yeah.
Do you eat fish with scales on it?
Any kind of fish from the sea.
Any kind of fish.
Thank you, Miss Ma'am.
You don't eat.
looks like we're ready.
I know.
Okay.
Welcome to this community unity night. Because where there's unity, there's peace.
I have been on the other end of the totem pole like the Somalis, that we were all put in the same category. We are not all in the same category.
Yes, ma'am.
They thought all black people were dirty.
Yes, ma'am.
We were not dirty. You're not all these things that people want to put you in one pot, that all white folks hate black folks. They don't do that. That's not true. So we need to educate ourselves again, I say.
Yes, ma'am.
I need to educate and communicate.
My name is Eugene Ray. I'm a native from Bedford County. I am the mayor, county mayor. Now they got other mayors, which is the city mayors, and I call them the minor mayors, the smaller mayors. And I'm the big mayor here.
My name is Muhammad Ali.
I always want to meet Muhammad Ali.
The greatest.
Float like a butterfly,
sting
and
like-
sting like a bee.
Yeah.
Here he is right here.
My name is Hawo Siad. I come from Africa.
Yes.
My country in Somalia.
Somalia?
Yeah.
Great.
I am live in Shelby.
Great. We meet here at the table. When we leave from this table, you still don't know me. And I don't know you. But I'm going to have to develop a relationship, and the only way we can do that is come together.
I want to know how the American people to live here. I'm talking some Spanish people, American people. Some American, I am cook food. Welcome to my home. I'm telling him, come my home to eat together. I miss you.
I miss you. How is school? It's good or no
Yeah,
good?
it's okay. Everything is okay.
Hello. You'll pretend it's okay.
Yeah, we have to pretend.
I have right
Come on, dude. You can do it.
She showed me how she prayed. She'd stand up, pray, hit the floor. Oh, wow, it's like television. I've never seen anything like that. But her prayers must be availing much. Otherwise, they wouldn't be here.
Wow. Oh, how that is beautiful.
Somalian tea.
Some more, please?
Okay.
Just a little? Thank you. That's good. Thank you. It's got milk in it. Yummy.
Thank you.
I love it. Now, is this okay? My arms are hanging up. Do you have enough?
It's okay.
You sure?
It's okay.
All right. Thank you. Oh, thank God. It's okay. TV, they had people with bombs on them, and they were blowing up an area. I want to say it was in Somalia. I thought it was the United States. It kind of got on my nerves a little bit. But is that taking place in Somalia or Kenya, or where are they doing that?
Yeah, that's what's going on in Somalia right now.
Really?
The war, exploding, everything.
So what are they doing to control that? It's ridiculous.
Nobody, can't control it now. Nobody.
Can you go back to Kenya or Somalia?
But you cannot go back to Somalia right now because it's not a safe place. You know?
It's just scary to me because, there's Somalians here, and, I don't want them to start blowing up anything. That won't happen, will it? You don't think?
No here.
Okay.
newspaper-ga dadkaasaan anagu waxaanu ka codsananaa inay naga daayaan dhibaatada ay nagu wadaan waayo waxay naga dhigeen dad xun.
You see the people different than you. You don't, think they're not good people.
Most folks just think you plumb mean. That's what you're just mean. But I don't think you are. I think you have probably come from a situation where you've seen your cousins or uncles being killed, and you're getting away and you're refugees over here in the States. That's what I see.
It's okay.
And you can cook good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
What is your name? Thank you. Love you.
Bless your
heart.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome. You're worthy.
Right now, I'm American. I'm not Somalian. I'm citizen next year. I'm got the class GED computer. I'm American right now.
Discussion, Mary and Mario, if you want to come on up, we'll sit over here, and Nico.
You want to sit next to me? Where are you sitting?
Let's mix it up.
You should reverse this.
Mix it up. Thank you all for coming tonight.
Are you a minor mayor or a major mayor?
Like a city. Feels like I need a gavel.
Cool. So first and foremost, I want to take a moment to thank Craig, the City of York, for hosting us. Thank you, Larry, for your kind words as well. And this is a very exciting opportunity that we're sharing today. And before we begin, I figured we'd go down the line and give each other an opportunity to introduce ourselves. First and foremost, my name is Sandy Almeida. I'm a technical advisor with YMCA of the USA, which is the National Resource Office of the YMCA. As part of my role is to be able to support our colleagues like Craig across the YMCA movement in their efforts at newcomer immigrants and refugees. And to give you guys just like a moment that I had as we were watching the film together, I feel like we were the living representation of something that was happening in the film. For us to come together to share food and open a dialogue and be able to create those safe spaces where you could have those very serious conversations but to be together as a community. And I want to commend the city of York for taking this step. As I was speaking with Dolores, this is one step in a long journey that we're going to continue to be a part of. It's a part of the YMCA history. It's a part of the history of the city of York. And I'm very happy to be here with you guys as a part of the panel. I'll be the moderator, but now I'll pass the mic over to Mary.
My name is Mary Weaver. I'm the Executive Director for the Pennsylvania Immigration Resource Center, which is a nonprofit organization based here in York.
My name is Nico Gourdet. I'm the Director of Global Education, Global Learning at the YMCA of the USA, based in Chicago.
I'm Craig Wolf, Executive Director of the YMCA of York, and we've been involved in immigration and immigrant resettlement for many years, and we're happy to be here in the York community and serving.
My name is Valerio Cabinda. I'm an immigrant, a business owner. I've been living in Europe for 14 years now, and probably share my story.
Wonderful. Thank you guys for joining us. Part of what we're going to do today, in reflecting from the film that we watched, the piece of the documentary, is that we want to be able to spark a productive dialogue. We want to be able to engage and highlight those opportunities where us as community members could serve as a learning opportunity in the way that we could enhance ourselves as members in the bridge building process with newcomer immigrants in the existing communities. And we want to be able to highlight those opportunities to increase civic participation. So I'll just ask you guys a couple of questions, for you guys to share your reflections on the film. But first, I wanted to give Valerio, if you feel comfortable, an opportunity to maybe share with the audience some of the pieces that you saw in the film that may relate to an experience that's similar to what you've had in the past, or anything that you noticed that really resonated with you as you were watching the piece.
The main thing was kind of about communication. One of the main difficulties that you have when you, my personal experience when I moved to the United States was about the language. She doesn't speak language. I have a lady here that I will share the story. I always share the story that what happened when I was at her house. And I was sitting kind of close to the remote control, and she asked me, Valerio, could you please hand me the remote control? And I said no, and she got upset. Who is Isha is over there? And then, because back then I couldn't speak English, so she was upset. And then when the husband came in, she still told the husband. Next day, the husband told me, and I said, well, I didn't know that she was asking about remote control. Today, we're best friends, and that has to do with communication. And also one of the things that just took me was to the church on Beaver Street. That's where I started my English classes. She used to drive me there. That's where I started with the York Literacy Council. Basically learning the language was the main thing for me. That way I can communicate with people and give my impressions. And also I remember back when I was learning English, my teacher, because I was being so attentive to what she was saying, she thought that I knew English. And then she told one of my friends, she said, well, tell her not to get upset because I have to teach other people too. And I didn't know it. And I said, well, I don't understand what she's saying. And just because of me being very attentive to what she was saying. I think language is really important.
Thank you. So the first question that I want to ask you guys is that in your view, what did the Shelbyville community do well in addressing the immigration change? We could go down the line, or if anybody wants to just popcorn style. Craig, I see you writing some ideas down.
I'm writing your question.
Oh.
Well, I think they were willing to reach out, and it started with certain members, right? Like the ESL teacher was someone who reached out to her students, and that the connections can start small with just a few people, but they were both, on both sides, willing to reach out to other members of the community, and it just broadened, and they were open to being invited to events and participating and sharing their stories, and it seemed to blossom from there.
Yeah.
And once the community overcame their presupposed fears of folks and starting seeing the Somalian population as people, the homes really did. They opened their hearts and their homes, and by the end, of course, they became friends. So it's overcoming the initial fear that was important.
I think the ESL teachers and volunteers, particularly here in York, talking about York Literacy Council, that's a very important piece, because that's give you the gateway to the community. Because when you when I moved here, I have a lot of kind of thought, but you just feel like a child. You can't speak because you don't know the language. Whatever kind of people think about you, you can't. I mean, just tell them what you're thinking about them or what you're all about. And after you learn the language, I think that's when, and while you're learning the language, you could be kind of in touch with the teacher. They're the one going to be giving you that kind, giving you more space. I remember when I was kind of learning English, some of my colleagues kind of volunteered me to go to buy a cafe or something for everybody. I was so scared, but that really kind of helped me a lot. You know, that's kind of opened up the gate and everybody. I think that's very important, the language.
Thank you, guys.
No, they said it. Everyone said it.
Oh, okay, cool. So this question is actually for Mary and Craig. What are some of the economic benefits to immigration or of immigration to the local communities that you guys have seen over the years? Are there any other non-economic benefits that you feel like a new emerging community, new immigrants could bring to the city of York in particular?
From our perspective at the YMCA, and we've done a lot of redevelopment work in the community, there's a couple of things that come to mind. Of our 6 commercial spaces that we've been able to develop in the neighborhood around the YMCA and on Market Street, 3 of the 6 are owned by new Americans who have come and started businesses. And I think that you'll find that in many urban communities that a large percentage, I do not have that actual percentage, but that a large percentage of businesses are started by new American entrepreneurs.
Yeah, I think it's 3 times the rate. Yeah, it's a much higher rate.
The other thing that we have seen over the years in our residential units, and we have about 115 units in the neighborhoods around the YMCA, as well as 120 units in our building. But there have been times when we've had up to around 30 families, newcomer families, and it's been they've been an example of hardworking folks who want to be a part of the community, who pay their rent, who take care of their properties, and who want to be neighbors and friends.
Yeah, I would agree with what Craig said. I mean, I think sometimes there's a lot of misconceptions about how people from other countries arrive here, and when they're here, how they use resources or benefits. But most immigrants, when they first arrive, come based on a family member petitioning for them. And when a family member petitions for them, they're not eligible for benefits for the first 5 years that they're here. So when they come here, they have to work. And they're very highly motivated to come here, which is, I mean, if you know all the paperwork that you go through just to come to the United States. So when they come, I'm agreeing with Craig, they're here to work. They're here to work, they're here to take care of their families. They're willing to take jobs, willing to take multiple jobs. I know a lot of immigrants who work 7 days a week. It's difficult sometimes to get your ESL classes when you have 2 jobs. But they're motivated to learn the language also because it's only going to help them with work. So because they work, they pay taxes, they pay rent, they pay utilities. There's a multiplier effect for all of the money that they bring into the economy. Usually it's an 8-fold multiplier effect. So there's a real benefit economically to the economy. And then you had asked also, what are the other benefits? And I mean, I guess I could be interested to hear what other people have to say. I mean, I personally think there's a tremendous amount of benefit just in terms of just bringing different points of view and good food. That's a huge benefit. It's high on my list. But what does everybody else think are benefits in terms of?
I think what comes to mind when I hear that question is, if I look from a national perspective at YMCA's, one of the things that YMCA's have seen as a benefit to working with newcomer groups, with new immigrants, with new arrivals, newcomers, and so forth, is that from a YMCA perspective, it strengthens programs. You don't have the same old boring programs that you used to have. When you invite newcomers to become part of the life of the Y, your programs are more innovative. They're more You know, you're more likely to introduce things that you didn't have before. You know, another benefit, and I think, you know, chief operating officers and CEOs appreciate this, is from a YMCA perspective, it's just new members, right? You bring in new members and new life to the YMCA, and that ultimately, you know, helps the bottom line of an organization like the YMCA and perhaps others that are similar to the Y. And finally, I think another, you know, benefit that's really underappreciated, and I thought this is what, you know, one of the things that Mary was getting at is it's just the economic value. I mean, just the resources that that new immigrants bring into you know, a Y family, or the attachment, the indirect connections that working with immigrant communities or newcomer communities. It shines a light on that YMCA to show that it's a global organization, that it's an organization that's international, that works with diverse communities, and so that's something that's really attractive to larger corporations who wanna partner with service providing organizations that work effectively with broad communities. So I think from a national YMCA perspective, there certainly benefits as well.
Sure, and I would also echo Nico's words and highlight the fact that it encourages that global participation with Y-to-Y partnerships, where you have YMCAs in the United States that are connecting with YMCAs abroad, and not only supporting them philanthropically, but also being able to share best practices, innovative programming comes from that connection that we have. And it's about being able to highlight the diversity that we have in our own backyard and encouraging that global perspective in both ways. I think it's a two-way street. So to highlight diversity and to encourage more inclusive practices is definitely something that's beneficial.
And I think philanthropy is important. You touched on it really. I mean, philanthropy that's a completely untapped area for a lot of YMCAs and a lot of perhaps other service organizations, you know, around the country. Is tapping into the philanthropic potential of new immigrant communities, because they're philanthropic. They may not be in the same way that we're used to with like our annual campaigns, for example, but they have disposable income. So I mean, that might be a cynical way to look at that, but that's also a benefit for sure.
I think one of the last things, or for me, that I was thinking of was children. Immigrants bring children, and they learn English at an amazingly rapid pace. You know, a lot of times adults, I mean, picture yourself moving to another country, just being plopped down there and having to learn the language. It is harder when you're older, but kids just absorb new languages, and immigrant families have children. And if you know anything about the demographics of York and Pennsylvania, that's a plus for immigrants to bring their families and choose to raise them here in York County and Pennsylvania. It helps to make us a more robust community.
I think the benefits are the business standpoint. I would say that's speaking about my own experience and what I share with others. You being an immigrant, you have always people coming back home from where you came from. They have that hope you're going to do well. And then over here, it's hard for me if I call back in Africa and tell them I'm not doing well. That's going to be really bad for me. So that's why I need to work very hard to show them. And the other thing you have, like in Europe, they have euro. Over here, you have dollar. If you call in Africa or somebody call you from Africa because send me money, you can't say, well, I can't exchange the money or something. But if you're in Europe, you can use that excuse. Say, well, I have a euro, so you don't use euro over there. So that's one also, something that motivates us to work hard. So you can, and that's it's good for the community. Good point.
If I can share a personal story when you mentioned the language piece. So I was born into the Dominican Republic in Santo Domingo, to be exact. And very quickly, my sister and I got acclimated to American culture and the language. And my mom made a rule at home that at home we were not to speak English because we were so quickly adapting to the language. And she said that at home you're going to speak Spanish because she believed that it was important for us to be able to hold our identity, our culture, and be able to stay true to who we are, but then have that dual identity. And similar to what you were saying about Lady at home, my mom and dad were busting their butts to make sure that we were developing enough economic funds to be able to support our families in the Dominican Republic. And like you said, you can't say no. We're here, we made the jump, and it's important for communities like the city of York to be able to encourage and support those families, because it is a benefit that they're having here and back home, for sure. So thank you guys for definitely sharing that. And I guess that goes right into the next question that I had about the ways that we could all become more active in the bridge building process, and how can we, in this community in the city of York, be able to develop a better cultural competencies as individuals who are a part of this bridge building process.
I think one of the benefits that we've already experienced through just initiating the Welcoming Week process has been the social service organizations that have been meeting together for about 5 or 6 months as we were planning some of these activities. And I think that the fact that, you know, many of you who are in the room tonight and many who are not here, but we're having the Cultural Lenses Workshop tomorrow, and we have about a dozen local agencies represented at that training from the county, the city, our social service organizations. And I think it's because we're all seeing the value or seeing the need because of the great influx of newcomers into our community and the richness that they provide, but how we're seeing as organizations, as a city, as a county, as a group, how we can best serve. And so this has been an opportunity for us to come together.
I think in a small way, I mean, it's so intimidating, and it can be so intimidating, especially if you're not a quote people person. But just talk.
Yeah.
I mean, Mary said earlier, like just those little simple connections, just those little simple things. Not everyone, but most people want to talk about themselves, right? They want to share their story. You know, they want to talk about, you know, where they got that awesome hat, or where they, you know, where they got those clothes, or, and for the most part, most people aren't offended, you know? So I think, I mean, that would be my takeaway, you know, of, you know, what can people do? That it's just starting there. It's just, you know, going up as individuals or as groups, right? Collaborating as groups, and just walking up to people and just saying, tell me about this. This seems to be very important to you. Tell me about that. I don't know. So.
And then I also think I want to give a shout out to Penn State York and the international students that are here, because it's important to encourage that participation and a celebration of diversity. And I definitely encourage all of you guys to come out to their cultural series that they're having and the series of events. And I think those are those spaces where, like you said, Nico, we can create that safe space to have those courageous conversations. And it is tough. Some topics are very hot, to say the least. You saw how in the film they talked about some issues that are definitely, that penetrated the community in Shelbyville. But to look for those safe spaces like we did here today, like in the cultural series, to celebrate food, clothing, language, etc. I think those are things that we could all do actively. And for the Y to be able to host those kinds of opportunities like today, thank you once again, Craig. I think it's definitely a very good thing that you guys are doing. Yeah, I was gonna ask if anybody in the audience, I can't pass the mic that way, but I guess you could speak loudly. Or is there a mic back there? Is that what that is? Oh, yeah. Because this is an open dialogue, we want to be able to encourage the audience to participate. So if anybody wants to share any reflections or any ideas, you're more than welcome to come up to the podium. You'll be on TV, so you can say hi to your friends and family back home in TV land. But does anybody have anything that they would like to share?
Maybe any observations from the film?
Hi there. I'm Bobby Andaleo with the York County Literacy Council. Thank you for naming the York County Literacy Council twice. You're my man. Actually, when you were talking about the economic benefits of immigrants to our community, I really wanted to hear Valerio talk about what he and his wife have done in the past 14 years, bringing, I mean, you didn't come in and not work, right? Can you tell the group, the room, what you have established in this community and why we're better for that? Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Bobby. Yeah, actually, we're business owners. So I started my business back in 2005. as in a small accounting firm. So I do kind of mostly tax preparation. I do consulting for small business, and that took me kind to whole kind of different things business-wise. So, and then my wife later on in 2009, she opened a clothing store, and what else? I mean, basically nowadays, if
you don't tell the story, she will.
Yeah.
I'm so proud. You guys share.
Yes, but before I started the business, I worked for a company, so that's what, and I think that's pretty
What were
much
some
all.
of the obstacles that you ran into, Valerio? What were some of the obstacles? Because it isn't easy, when you're learning a language and working and trying to start a business all at the same time.
Yeah. One thing about myself, I would say, I used to be so quiet until I came to America. So I need really to speak. And the biggest kind of challenge is, I would say, language and where to find the stuff, I remember when I started I took a class, I should just kind of mention here, at H&L Block for tax preparation. And one of my coworkers, back then I used to work at Dent Supply, and she came to me and said, well, you'll be filing my tax return this year. I was so scared, I didn't want So she started telling everybody else, so Valerio will be doing my tax this year. And to prepare tax to do kind of e-filings, I didn't know where to go to get everything that I need. And thank God, one of the things that I have problem nurses for, so I went online and got some information about IRS, where to get the e-filing status and all that. And also people in my church. I remember one day being in church, my pastor called everybody and said, oh, let's thank God Brother Valerio has a tax preparation business. I was oh my goodness, I'm supposed to say that. That's basically how everything kind of started. And that's took 1 year to next year having referrals, and as of today, so that's what I do.
Anyone else in the audience that wants to come up to the podium? This feels like
Dolores?
super official. I like this.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oscar Ross. I'm representing Helen Dyson Charter School. And Craig, thank you for this event. Is really awesome. And today really helped me, I think, kind of brought my awareness of the different situations. So I'm really enjoying the experience. It also made me think. I was sitting there. I wanted to ask the question. We have kids. And our country, we're in a different era where we're moving from, per se, the civil rights era into other cultures and nationalities that are now entering into the United States. So it's not a black and white issue. It's a very, very colorful issue. And it reminded me, all of a sudden, when I was sitting there, a young lady that I met last year in the school, when she first came to our school, I can't remember what country she came from, but she came from the continent of Africa. And then this year, I was doing some lunch duty details, and I saw her sitting alone. So I went to talk to her to make her feel comfortable. And as you mentioned, communication is one of the greatest tools. And as you mentioned, is talk about something. There's always many things to talk about. Even the simple issue of what are you wearing? Where do you get that from? What color? Things, anything, or what is your nationality? What country you come from, and how is that? But the question I wanted to ask is, I wish there was more that I could do for her, because I had a responsibility of helping to oversee a lot of kids sitting in a lunchroom, which is a very hard job, by the way. So I couldn't really give her all my attention. So, but I thought as I was sitting there, and maybe you all can help me. So I have a question, and that is there any kind of effort or agency or anything for kids that are in schools, that are in elementary or secondary schools, that or programs that can offer support to the schools, that they can address kids that are coming in and coming to our communities? You mentioned the parents, and we reflected a little bit on the children, but the children, the people go to work, the adults go to work, and then the children go to school, and they also have their challenges to try to intermingle with kids that don't speak the language. And as I saw that young lady sitting alone, I'm sure that she has her challenges. So I don't know if you can, or anyone can offer any things that you could mention to schools, that you could help schools to help these kids.
And you're talking about, like, I see Elodie in the back of the room with the New York City School District. So you're talking about not things that the school district does, because you're aware of that already. You want to know what could the outside do for the school district.
Absolutely.
Is that what you're asking? Okay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
One of the things that a program that we've begun over the past several years, what we call Y Achievers, and I know that our president at Daxton, but it's an opportunity for us to expand that program as we help develop young people for college and for post-secondary education, and we're seeing more and more opportunities for not only with York City youth, but from all countries who are beginning to participate in that, and it's an outstanding opportunity in an area to expand. And I know that some of our other partner organizations have similar opportunities, but that, a place like the YMCA, the YWCA, Crispus Attucks was represented here earlier, are ideal places for youth to get involved and to interact with people.
I was just going to say, I know that I'm sorry, Dolores. That the Commonwealth is going to be starting an Office of New Americans. So when you first asked that question or made that comment, I was thinking ideally there's one central organization possibly in the community that can be a resource. And you listed a bunch of them. But I mean, it's possible that we'll see how that evolves, I guess. I just want to throw that out to you, that's something that's coming at the state level. I'm not sure what resources will be available here in York once it gets off the ground, but where are you going to go next?
Just to expand a little bit on what Craig was saying is I'm not personally aware of organizations outside the YMCA, but I do know that on a national level that we, as the YMCA, we are working with child care directors, after school directors, summer camp directors, and staff coordinators and so forth, because they've expressed this very need. Mm-hmm. that you're expressing from the school system standpoint, saying, we're seeing multiple kids from multiple nations of origin, multiple cultures. I got a handful of Jewish kids and it's a Christian camp. How do I accommodate them? So we're working with them. We try to work with them to help equip the staff with competencies to be able to begin those dialogues with kids. But as far as a national organization, I'm ignorant of that. But that's a very good point. I mean, I think that's something worth pursuing, worth researching, for sure.
Thank you.
Dolores?
Good evening. My name is Dolores Minaya. Maybe I'm so excited to be here is when I came to York, I used to come to city council, and I always was like, why is no any information in Spanish? I had the opportunity to go to Literacy Council. I was part of the immersion program, and I was able to learn a little bit the language. I did I became a massage therapist. They helped me to develop a plan. And my plan was become a massage therapist, have my own house, and have my license. And I did all 3 steps. In York City, we had opportunity. I've been blessed to know people like you, Mary. I think almost everybody in York City knows Dolores, and Dolores knows almost everybody here. Seriously. I was so excited with what accomplished that I started a group called Spanglish. A lot of people knows about it. And through that group, it was about more than 55 young people that went through. No, it was all in our own. And the group was about exchange of language and culture. Whoever know Spanish will help somebody who want to learn the Spanish language. And then the one who speak English will teach the one who want to learn English. So it's a way to really help one another with no resources. I just want to help, be there. And the city of York really, really helped me many, many times. I am very blessed to be York City resident. And I'm happy for what is happening today. And I just looking forward to continue seeing things like that growing in the city. Thank you.
Thanks, Dolores.
Thank you, Dolores.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a beautiful way to close it.
Yeah.
I guess I would want to. Yeah.
I'll just be brief. Good evening. My name is Pierre Thompson from the Lutheran Immigration and Refugee Service. As a visitor to the city of York, I've been reading a little bit up on the history of York, which I realize has some experience with welcoming newcomers. One of the more interesting episodes that I've learned about has been that of Golden Ventures and Chinese immigrants, I believe, who were helped by Mary's organization, PERC. And I'm wondering if anyone can comment on that experience of integration and in what ways maybe it paralleled the experience that we saw in Shelbyville, Tennessee.
I'll be brief.
No, I'm not worried.
Because it's a long story. But the Golden Venture was a ship that ran aground off of Long Island. And I don't know the exact number, but there were hundreds of Chinese refugees who were seeking asylum that came to York County Prison. So the story's a little different, Pierre, from the Shelbyville story. There were individuals who did end up gaining some form of relief, and they lived in the community. And maybe you can comment actually a little bit more, because I didn't live here at the time, that the Golden Vision created a home basically for asylum seekers to live in, because it's very difficult when you're seeking asylum. You have fled. Actually, I should shut up and let you talk about how difficult that is. But there are some parallels, Pierre, but it's not entirely like Shelbyville. The parallels are that the York community really was very, very welcoming. It's one of the largest pro bono initiatives in the country that was established very quickly by the York County Bar Association to try to represent all of the detained refugees before they went to their immigration hearings. But what happened afterwards, I should let you guys say.
Right. Well, the Golden Vision Foundation had a house at 413 West Market Street that was called the International Friendship House. And so when folks would be released from detention at York County Prison, they could go. We had 14 beds, and they could stay there for up to 6 months. It was just down the street from the rescue mission, and as they were assimilating into the York community, and that went on for several years. The YMCA helped manage that house for a few years back in the late 90s and early 2000s. But by our count, there were between 60 and 70 asylum seekers who became York City residents coming through that program. And as I was explaining to Nico earlier today, and where we'll be having the Cultural Lenses workshop tomorrow, at the corner of the market, one of the Chinese asylum seekers, Ping, owns that store. He actually had to leave the United States for several years and go to Venezuela because he was going to be deported back to China, but he eventually was able to get back here. His daughter became the valedictorian of York Suburban High School, 4-year academic scholarship to Michigan State, moved back and worked for the YMCA for a short period of time. She married a Chinese immigration lawyer or something in the Boston area, and moved there. And the business is still operating, and great family. But that's just the one story, and I told it very briefly and probably not very well, but that's a part of the story. And again, of the 70 or so folks, I think around 20 of them lived in our apartment units of the YMCA. So that's one of the areas that we've been most involved with in housing of people that were moving into the men's residence of the YMCA, and then or directly into apartments. And some of the best tenants that we've ever had came through that program and are still there. Folks from from all over the world. I
And
could
I think
name country after country.
Yeah, the common thread too is what you were saying, Dolores, about, you saw a need and you on your own created this group, the exchange of languages and people and culture. The same thing with the Golden Venture Group. This whole fantastic group of people put together this Golden Vision Foundation and organization, and were made a lot of welcoming gestures to this population of people who had been fleeing persecution. And I guess that's one of the messages we're trying to say, is that it's community based. What we need to do to change our community it begins with us, and we're all going to bring it about together through organizations or through individually, but that's how we're going to.
For sure.
I do want to put in a plug for our organizations who are present, and we have materials out in the lobby of a bunch of the great work that is happening and available for our newcomer population. A new program, and that is just coming up through a collaboration of several of our organizations, is a visitation program to the prison that we're calling Walking Together. We have still the numbers 700 a day, around 700 asylum seekers per day in detention at York County Prison with no visitation. And we are putting together a visitation program so that even though they may be here for a short time or may never be released into the York community, they will know that they were cared about by receiving a visit from somebody who cares about them. And so there's information about that in the lobby as well. So we're going to wrap up.
Yeah.
We're going to stay on schedule here, wrap up, and I'm telling you, there's a lot of food over there.
Yes.
And so feel free to help yourselves with some food. Thank you all for coming and being a part of this. We're looking forward to seeing those of you who are attending the Cultural Lenses Workshop tomorrow morning at 8:30 at the Union Lutheran Church. And again, thank you, and I believe that this is the first year and many more great years to come as the dialogue continues and as we continue to make York a welcoming city. So thank you very much. Thank you so much for coming.